All right. Yesterday, you guys got your animal photo, both black and white and color. And your job was to transfer the animal to your canvas. And we talked about not doing too many like extra details, but focusing on like the direction of the fur or feathers and any place the color changed, uh, details so that you can add in the structure of the animal and that sort of thing. And you needed to transfer it to your canvas. So you can see here, I have my bird transferred to my canvas. It's ready to go. And then the other thing that we did yesterday is we took the colored image and we took our sketchbook. You can see I have my sketchbook here. And we worked to make color recipes to figure out how to make the colors that we needed for our painting. So I thought yellow and green would work. I needed to add more yellow, and then I had the idea to add red. And so this is definitely closer to the kind of goldeny color that the bird is. So this is the combination of colors that I'll use. And then with a little bit more green in it, I get this kind of dark, it looks kind of black, but it's not completely black, that I'll be able to use for my bird. And hopefully you did the same for your background. Today we're gonna start in the background of our painting, and we're actually gonna begin painting. So you can see I have my photo right here, and my canvas is taped to a board. Remember we talked about that these are floppy, they're just a sheet of canvas, and so if I don't tape it down, it will kind of sag or sog. So I want to make sure that I have it taped to the board before I start. We are going to begin these paintings in the background, and we're going to work our way forward. So you are going to need the color of paint that you worked out for the background first. And then we're going to talk about simplifying background. So if I have a lot of like grass and leaves and that sort of thing, so if I were to imagine, like this is just going to be some color, and I'll show you how to blend the colors together. This has a lot of detail in it, obviously. And as a painting, if I think about painting all that grass and the leaves and everything back in the background, like that feels a little daunting. It also feels a little time consuming. And so what I'm going to want to think about doing is simplifying that background space. And so I'm going to show you the technique that I'm going to use for the bird, but it is a similar technique that I can use for something like the heron. Even though the background here is different, I can choose to change it. So I am getting my paint ready for painting my background on my little green bird. And I will also talk to you, like I said, about simplifying backgrounds for other animals as well. You certainly could paint exactly what's in the background on your image, but sometimes just depending on what it is, it feels a little overwhelming, or it feels like it will end up being distracting to your finished painting. And then it's best that you make kind of a blurry color choice for back there. So on my image, we have this light white color. So I don't want to mix my color on my plate. I'm just going to mix my color on my background. And so just like when we worked with the apple, I'm going to take more than one color at a time into my paintbrush, and I'm going to blend on my paper. Now, right away, I can see that it's really bright. So red and green are complementary colors. So me just throwing a little bit of green into this paint, this gets kind of a little bit more gloomy effect, which is what we have in my reference image. And so you can see I can add a little white as I go, and I'm blending as I go to just build up a background that is fairly similar to what is in the photo, but it doesn't have to be exactly what's in the photograph. So I can add in a little bit more of my pinky red as I go. And I could add in more white. But I'm looking for that kind of hazy, grayish. You don't want it to get super bright, so added a little more green again. But it is a little bit darker pink here, which I think will be fine. When I get close to the bird, I can go ahead and just blend a little bit so that I don't cover up that outline on my bird. So I'm just gonna kind of softly meld my color right up to the bird. So this is what I'm going to do for the background for this painting. I'm gonna go ahead and just keep kind of blending these colors together, not being afraid to like mix in color as I go. So I just grabbed a little bit more green again here. Put in a little bit more. It's a little darker under the bird itself, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix in a little bit more green. Making sure to get small spots like between its feet. And some of that might end up going over the edge of, you know, what else you're painting there. So I've got a little bit over the edge of my branch, but it'll be fine. And I'm just gonna fill the background this way, making sure to shift and change my colors as I go, just more for visual interest than anything. And also, like, that's just what's in the background in this photo. So I'm kind of leaving those brush marks, kind of letting it be mixy-mashy colors. If perchance I have a background like this, I can talk about this quick. What I can do here is something very similar. And I can choose to use the colors that are back here. And I'm going to start with the darker ones. So this is really very dark. So I'm actually going to use the Payne's Gray, the color that we're calling black. And you can see that it's just very, very dark blue. And I'm going to add some just additional blue. And the trick for this will be, as I'm moving up, I'm going to add in more of kind of a green. You'll see I'm gonna just sort of darken that. Gradually make it greener as I move up towards the top. So I can start to add more yellow as I'm moving up. So I'm using the same kind of mixy and mashy color philosophy that I used for my other bird. I am just kind of replicating this color shift here instead. When this dries, if I decide that I want to, I can pull this up further. I can always come back and over the top of this background space that's really dark, like we have this effect of the light over the top of the dark, and I can come back after and I can add some of those details. That's not showing up super great just because my paint is still wet underneath there. But if I want, I could do just a couple little blades of grass or leafy sort of shapes just to kind of give my background some texture. So I can even do that now, like with my paintbrush. I'm kind of trying to think about leaves, right? And I can leave some like leafy texture in this background space, and just continue that right up to the top of my page. So you can see that as a background to my heron, this would work lovely. And it's not too busy, and it doesn't involve me painting like individual leaves, which is really a crazy kind of daunting prospect. And so this is what we're going to start with your animal painting. You will go ahead and you will begin in your background.